Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, someone is in a hurry, and that is President of Ukraine, Zelensky. I wonder why he's in a hurry. He wants to end the war by December. Not January, not by November, by December. It's because Santa Claus comes to town. Not for him, I think. But nevertheless, let's say what's going on here. This article comes from Reuters. No, The Hill. I'm sorry. I'm with Reuters. The Hill, not with, but they are the providers of the news that are worth laughing about. So this is an article from The Hill, and this is the title. Zelensky challenges the world to help end Russia's war by December. He can end it by himself right now if he wants. Why do you have to challenge the world? Like this is a global issue. They try to make it a global, but it's not a global issue. They try to make it. They've been working on this for a long time. Not Zelensky. The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, has thrown down the gauntlet for the US and allies to help Kiev bring an end to Russia's war by December. The imperative is to stop the bloodshed. If you want to do that, you can do it right now. So what he wants actually is to help them destroy Russia, speed up the process if it's possible, because it's just a tool. And unfortunately, Ukraine, the nation of Ukraine and the country is just used, and it's not going to happen. But nevertheless, unless Putin is taken out and his body's over there. So it says here, Ukrainian forces are suffering as many as 200 casualties per day, and Russian artillery has killed dozens of civilians in recent attacks, with 100 more injured. But Zelensky is also under pressure to keep the focus in support of the US and Europe, allies that are being pulled away by domestic crises, including worsening inflation, exorbitant energy prices, and fears of a global recession. So yeah, that's why one ended before, I would say, October, when the cold shows up in Europe. Shifting political dynamics are also playing into Zelensky's calculus. Yes. Boris Johnson has promised a strong support of the United Kingdom despite his recent resignation as Prime Minister. In Italy, pro-Euro Prime Minister Mario Draghi is under attack over a debt crisis in the country. And in the US, Republicans are set to make gains in the November midterms, potentially strengthening a small but provocative group. Provocative! I can think of who they think of. Provocative group of GOP lawmakers who criticize America's support for Ukraine. It's not that. It's not criticizing the America's support for Ukraine. It's just saying our citizens are the priority. They're hurting. They are hurting too, but we should prioritize our citizens. That's the only thing. I mean, let's go and help the neighbor's house, give them food from our children, and our children should starve. How logical that is. Like the neighbor will do the same thing. And even from the beginning, that's a stupid practice. Just so you know, if my children are starving, I'm not going to give the neighbor's children food. If you want, give me some. But I won't. I give my kids first, and then, we all do that. It's nature. It's normal. And whatever. You know what else it is. All right, let's see what's going on here. Ukraine, under these pressures, Zelensky is setting a 6-month timeline to get as many heavy weapons to the country as possible and push back Russian forces, battling low morale and exhausted manpower. Possibly. And I'm quoting, we can achieve a lot of things before the end of the year. One could be you get out. We can stop this war. Yes, we can. Zelensky said in an interview with CNN last week, we are going to fight for every inch of our territory. Very good. It is clear that we can't get it all back, he said. Oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that? It is clear we can't get it all back. This is the first time when he said it. He is acknowledging the reality on the territory. He never said that. Never. So he knows what he knows. He was told what to know, actually. Ukrainian forces have launched an offensive against Russian-occupied Kherson. What? A strategic city west of the... I'm not buying that. In the northeast, Ukraine continues to defend Kharkiv from Russian shelling. They are fighting. The Ukrainians basically have stopped the Russian advances for now. They said that they tilted the whole thing because of the 4 HIMARS long-range American-provided missile launching systems. Now there are 8. They will have 12, but out of those, a few were hit and a few were sold already to the Russians, according to some sources. So the Ukrainians basically have stopped the Russian advances for now, said Kurt Volker, who served, Volker in English, right? Who served as U.S. envoy for Ukraine negotiation between 2017 and 2019. He did a job, and is a distinguished fellow for the Center of European Policy Analysis. So this Kurt Volker, who served as U.S. envoy for Ukraine. Shitty job for Ukraine, good job for the guys who said, we gotta go and end up in a war. So you do what you need to do, hanky-panky, and keep it the way it is. But I don't think he was that important. For Ukraine negotiations between 2017 and 2019, and it still led to war. So you failed, Geta is a distinguished fellow. No, I think whatever. Sometimes we fail, okay, so I shouldn't be this harsh with this guy because I don't know exactly what he said and what he did. But the result is that we ended up with this thing. Maybe he did everything he could. Maybe he sold his house and all that to help, negotiate. They feel that they need more of the assistance more quickly because they need to build momentum and push the Russians back more quickly and not giving the Russians time to recover. The U.S. has provided Ukraine with $2.2 billion in military assistance over the past 3 weeks. Wow, Israel will start being jealous. That includes 2 high-mobility artillery rocket systems, HIMARS, so they got them, or I know the last 4 were about to get there, and 2 national advanced surface-to-air missile systems, the heavy weapons most prized in taking out the Russian artillery depots and command centers. Good. But only 4 HIMARS have made it in country and are operational, and Ukrainians are frustrated at the pace of delivery. So 4, and they said with the 4, they stopped the Russians. I do not believe anything these guys say right here. So they basically need, he was right at the beginning. He was right at the beginning when he said, well, there's some problems here with, actually, I think the person who's responsible for it, Laura Kelly, when she talked about the pressure from outside, the domestic pressure in those countries with support. I think the coming of the weather, political dynamics shifting, yeah, that's one of the important ones. And if they think that they could push the Russians back, I don't think so, because he said here that he's actually realizing we can't get it all back. It's clear that we can't get it all back. I haven't heard this admission from Zelensky before. So anyway, he could figure things out. He could go back to, not him, but his handlers, 2014. But we can go back, so we have to go forward. We have to. So is the weather, is the political situation. I think the Russians are advances contrary to this, what these guys are saying. Those 4 HIMARS or 8 or 12, they will not shift the whole thing. I mean, if you think that 12 units will be able to, I don't think, then what is that? There's not a war. It's not a war. It's a regional little scuffle. So all those things that they tell us that almost 50,000 Russians died or this, I don't believe it. I don't know how. Well, I don't want to minimize it, but I don't think those HIMARS units will be able to, if they do, I don't know what the Russians are doing over there. Are what? 3 tanks and 5 airplanes? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth. And by December, we celebrate Christmas in peace because there's going to be no wars on this planet.